So friends, till date you have learned about the academic parts of first level Abacus. Now it is important we have innovative and interesting methods to conduct an Abacus class, because let us understand, after 6 days of regular school classes the child is with you, and here at least he must not feel that he has to learn once again. Rather, in your classroom he should feel that he is here to play. Well, okay, in the process of playing, if he learns, that's a great thing. Now you should understand that initially when the abacus comes in hands of a child, he finds it like a toy and enjoys playing with it. But over a period, it becomes the similar and the monotonous style of practice. It starts boring him. So I think it is important that we discuss, and now let us learn some new methods that will keep the class interesting whenever a child comes for his abacus training. Now it is important that before a faculty takes up a class, I would like to put down certain very principally strong points that a faculty has to take care before he starts a class. First primary thing I would like to put is his dressing sense. You should never have in your mind that you are going to conduct the class of kids. Mind it, kids are very good observers. Hence, it is very important that you are well dressed, good enough that a child will like you. Okay, now after I have talked about your dress, let me tell you, when we are talking of kids who are being trained for abacus, they are usually small kids, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. These kids have an exceptionally high level of energy. Any classroom in which they are present is vibrant with energy. So keeping in view that as a faculty, as a person going to train these children for abacus, you cannot afford to have low level of energy. You must have very high level of energy. In fact, to put it in simple way, you have to have the level of energy matching that child. Now let me give you an example. Like if I tell the kids, okay, open first level book, page number 5. Now the response in the class is going to be like that only. But if I will say, okay, open page number 5, let me see who does it fast. Come on, come on. Now this level of energy is going to be transferred to the kids. You must understand this. Once you are able to keep that level of energy, mind you, the kids are going to be with you. So it is very important. Okay, so I was just talking to you about the energy. Now you see, another important point is a child enjoys learning best from a teacher whom he likes. And a child likes a friendly person. So it is important that whenever you start a abacus class or when you have interacted with your kids, you should create an ambience and atmosphere where the child feels comfortable with you and you are more or less friendly with them. So that will help them be in with you in the class so that they can learn better. And another thing, you know, what makes everybody happy is being called by his own name. It is like, oh, you come here, you talk. No, you call the child by his name. For that you have to remember every child's name in the class. And you know, when sometimes what? Usually in abacus classes, parents would be coming to either drop their kids or pick them up after the classes. In front of the parents, it's very important you are able to address their child by his name or her name, because this gives a feeling to the parents that you are being personal with the child, you are taking care of the child very seriously and very personally. You know, that itself is going to give confidence in the parents' mind that, well, my kid is in the right place, in the right hands. So it is important you must remember the name of every child. Okay. See, I'll give you an example. Say Mr. Sharma walks in with his child in your center, and you should be remembering the name. Hello Mr. Sharma, how are you? And you looking at the child, you say, hello Rahul, how are you? Fine. How's your little sister? Now, you know, this kind of small interactions give the parents a feeling that, yes, their child is important to you. They themselves are important to you. That gives a level of confidence to the parents. Now we are in a situation where the kids are in their classroom and you have to start your class. The first thing that we advocate is you should start your class with the Om. Enchant the Om, because Om is a word that brings in lot of energy with itself. So this will give energy and a vibrance to the entire class. But again, one point I would like to point out here is, if there are children who would not prefer to enchant Om because of religious points, you are not supposed to be making it a rule. Understand my point? Only it has got to be enchanted with a feeling from inside. So you are not going to force it on any student, but preferably start with the Om. Okay, like Om in the Islamic way of starting something is usually with Bismillah. You can tell the children that. Okay, so the idea is of making the class full of energy once again and starting it with a very positive note. I strongly believe that any class, talking of small kids, they are full of energy, but if you can make them laugh right at the beginning of the class, you will be giving them a lighter frame of mind. They would be off with their all kind of tensions and inhibitions that they would have carried when they entered the class, or something that they have carrying in the back of the mind. A small joke can release them of all this kind of pressures. So start your class with a short joke that can give a hearty laugh to your little kids. Once they have laughed their heart out, let this session never be more than 2 to 3 minutes, because you don't have much time in conducting your classes. So a joke that will involve the whole entire class for 2 to 3 minutes will be more than enough. Mind it, the joke should be funny, the joke should be decent, so that even if the child repeats at his home, you don't feel embarrassed. Okay, so that's important. But another thing I would like to say, please don't encourage the children to start jokes in the class, otherwise you'll be wasting your whole class and no studies will be there. But if the kids insist that they have to tell a joke, tell them, okay, after the session is over, we will have a session of jokes. Do have a session of jokes after your classes. Okay? And once the child is laughed himself out, you know what happens? He is off all his tensions. His grasping power increases. He is with you with mind, body and soul. He is able to understand you. He is able to retain what you are telling. So it is important that you make the atmosphere of the entire classroom light for the child to understand and enjoy the classroom. Okay, now let us discuss how you are going to manage batches of Abacus classes. Say for example, once you have started your center and the classes, initially you have 3 or 4 admissions. On the first Sunday you are going to start a class. But in between the first Sunday and the second Sunday, in between, say you have another 2 admissions. So the situation is like your first Sunday students have already studied some part of Abacus. Now they will be coming on the next Sunday. But this student who has taken admission in between, if you are going to put him on the second Sunday, he would lag behind the first and he will not be able to cope up with the entire course. So the best way will be to call the child in between, say a couple of days before the actual second Sunday class starts, so that when both these set of students, that the one that took admission on the first Sunday and the one that took admission between, when they are together in the second class, they are both at same level of training. So that way you can manage. But it can again happen, you know, between the second and the third Sunday there could be another admission on 2, 3, 4 maybe. Now in that case it will again become difficult. So for that also you may have to repeat this kind of activity. You may have to call this third set of kids at least twice between that weeks, so that they are at par with what the other students have learned in the first 2 Sundays. So when they are on the third Sunday, you can put them together. In fact, in this process, for a month's time, you certainly can manage your batch. There would not be any problems. Okay, there can be another condition, you know, that the normal students are there, but one student, due to n number of reasons, becomes absent on one of the Sundays. It may sound that he is going to miss just one class, but actually it's not just one class. Since we are holding a class only on Sundays, between the first and the third Sunday, it is 15 days gap. And expecting a child to be remembering whatever you have taught for entire 15 days is going to be almost a kind of impossible thing. So what you have to do is, for the child who has become absent on a particular Sunday, before the next Sunday class starts, call him for an extra class. Inform the parents why you want to conduct a class. Now, mind you, if you are going to do this kind of class of extra classes and informing the parents feel, yes, these people are really concerned about actually completing and giving a complete training to my child. That actually adds value to your entire center and makes the parents confident upon you. Okay? The greatest challenge that every faculty faces while running a Abacus class is to continue to maintain a high energy level and enthusiasm level of the children. Because if you think about it, every day, every Sunday, the same routine being repeated of using an abacus and doing mental in the same process, if initially the child may enjoy with, because he has a new instrument, abacus, which is like a toy, he enjoys playing. But over a period, he gets bored with it because the entire process becomes so monotonous. So as I said initially, it is a big challenge to maintain a very high energy level. We at Mastermind Abacus have devised a unique process of running a class through a scoreboard that we will discuss now. This scoreboard is a very handy process to make the class interesting. It reduces the working of the instructor by giving accurate status report of a student at a glance. It increases the efficiency. It also ensures that any child is not left or forgotten among the all group of the students. And most importantly, every child is given proper attention. Moreover, it is also helpful to keep track of each week class and the personal development of the child, and it also ensures that every child is 100% with you in the classroom, both mentally and physically. The scoreboard will also ensure that each child's enthusiasm is maintained. He enjoys the class, so he will be regular in the classroom. Moreover, this entire process is going to breed in a healthy competition, ensuring that necessary developments start and are imbibed as we promise to the parents. I would like to give certain very important instructions to your CI, that as a CI, he has to be present in the classroom a minimum 5 to 10 minutes before the students actually come. Because the scoreboard that you are seeing on the screen, he has to prepare such a scoreboard on his whiteboard, write all the names of the students of that particular batch. And as you can see, on the scoreboard, it is covering almost all the activities that are to be done in a classroom. For example, we have written the homework, then classwork, and then mental activities, so many, and there could be other activities that you are planning. So once he is ready with this scoreboard of his, and then when the students come in, he would be actually able to implement it in the best way. And mind you, this is the only process through which you have to maintain every class of yours. Every batch of yours has to be maintained through this scoreboard only. Okay friends, from here we will move on to the actual operations of this scoreboard. Okay, now as you can see on the scoreboard on your screen, the names of the students are written in the first column, followed by a column of homework. Now as a instructor or a faculty, it is your responsibility to ensure that the copies, homework copies of all the students are checked. Now if you are going to do that individually for every student, you are going to consume a lot of time. But through the scoreboard, we have made this checking process of the homework like a game. Now what you are supposed to do is, first you will ask the students, okay, has everyone done his homework? You get an answer. So what you will do, you will ask the students, okay, everybody listen, exchange your copies with your neighbor. This means that every student passes on his copy to his neighbor and takes his copy. Okay, after this has been completed, you as an instructor, you should have the answers of all the questions that were given in the homework. Say we take a case of 30 questions have been given for homework. Now you have answers of all the 30 questions. So what you will do is you will read out the answer. Question number 1, answer 35. Question number 2, answer 38. Like that you will be reading out the answer for all the questions one by one. What the students have to do is, if there is a wrong answer, they will circle it. Okay, in that process, within 5 minutes, you have given all the answers and all the copies have been checked. Now, you will ask the students, say you ask Manohar, okay Manohar, what is the score of Ravi? How many wrong answers? He will say 3 circles. That means out of 30 questions, Ravi has made 3 errors and he has 27 correct answers. So here you will write 27. Got it? Similarly, you will be asking all the students the number of wrong answers in everybody's copy. Now what you have done in this process is you have involved everybody in checking the copies, and within 5 to 7 minutes all the copies have been checked and you know what the students, how much error they have made and how many are correct. Got my point? Okay. Now for the other homework copies of the students, we will similarly ask all the students the number of circles they have made in the notebooks in their hand, and note down the scores for all the students. Say if Manohar has 4 circles in his copy, so he has 4 errors, that means he scores 26 marks. And similarly the others, say in case of Poonam there are 5 errors, so she scores 25. Zahir, say 23. Pinky has 10 circles, so she scores only 20 marks. While Himanshu, he has 9 errors, so he scores 21 marks. And say Saurav has not completed his homework, so he gets a 0. Ruchi 22, and in case of Harshit, say we have 24. Now similarly we will follow the same pattern with classwork. Again, as a start, you will be giving classwork to the students. Say you decide to give page number 5, which has 30 questions. So you will tell the students, okay, everybody open your page number 5 and solve all the questions. Your time starts now, and you will complete all the questions in 6 minutes. Okay, now after 6 minutes is over, you will say again, okay, time over, stop writing, exchange your copies. Again the children will exchange their copies similarly as they did in case of homework. With his neighbor he exchanges his copies. Okay, now again as a teacher you will be announcing the answers for all the questions, and the process will be followed similarly for errors or wrong answers. The students will encircle it. So say you ask Zahir this time how many circles in Poonam's copies, and he says only 2. So that means Poonam has scored 28 marks. And similarly we ask all the students to tell us the circles in the answer sheets, and you take down the answers. Say in Manohar's case, if there are 3 errors, he scores 27. In case of Ravi, if there are 5 errors, he scores 25, and so on and so forth. So now in the process what has happened is, in 6 minutes plus 4 to 5 minutes, another 10 minutes you have not only made the children do their classwork, but also all the entire classwork sheet has been checked, and the students know how many errors they have been making. Even you know how many errors the students have been making. And mind you, this process in fact is very interesting for the kids, because they enjoy finding errors in others' notebooks, and since nobody is checking his own notebook, so he does it very seriously. And so we have been able to complete the homework, complete the classwork, and also check the sheets. Mind you, this process also encourages the children to do their homework, because ultimately on board it is seen and everybody sees that so and so has not done his homework, or so and so at the end of the entire scoreboard, when we total up the score, he will be left behind. So this also inculcates an habit in the children to complete their homework before coming to the classes. Now, having completed the exercise of homework and classwork, the next important exercise that is supposed to be conducted in every Abacus class is making the children practice the questions mentally. Now, the objective of this scoreboard, when we are talking about mental questions, is to make sure that even when a single question is asked, every student participates in the entire mental exercise. Now, to do this, what will become important as a faculty for you is to ensure that whenever you are asking a question, first thing, you are not looking at the student. Secondly, you are not asking the questions in a fixed order. Now, if you are not asking question in the fixed order, all the students are alert, because they are not aware whose name will be called next for asking the question. Let's take an example. For example, if you ask a question, now you are not looking at the students, you are looking at the board. And it is simple for you to call the names, because the names are already written on the board and you don't actually have to look at the students. So let us start. Say you ask a question, 5 plus 3 plus 2 less 1. So what you will do is, Now, for example, let us ask a few questions to the class and we'll understand and learn how we are going to use the scoreboard. Say you ask a question, 5 plus 3 plus 2 less 1, and you are looking at the board, you call out the name Zahir. And Zahir gives you a right answer and he scores 1 mark. Now another next question you are asking is 3, 2, 1 less 1, and you call the name Pinky and she gives you a right answer, so and Pinky scores 1 mark. Next you ask 6, 3, 2 less 1, Manohar. So Manohar gives you a right answer and he scores another mark. The next question you are asking is 7, 3, 2 less 1, Manohar. And again Manohar gives you a right answer, he scores another mark. Now similarly another question you are asking is 3, 2, 1, 5, you call Ravi, but instead of Ravi, Poonam gives you an answer. Now this is what we will call as breaking the discipline of the class. So Poonam will get a negative mark for having called without being asked for. So Poonam gets -1. Then again you ask a question, 6, 3, 2 less 1, and you call out Himanshu. Himanshu gives you the right answer, he gets 1 mark. And then again you call out 7, 3, 2, 5 less 1, Saurav. And Saurav gives you a wrong answer. So Saurav gets 0 marks for his answer. And then you again ask a question, 5, 3, 2, 6, 3 less 1, and call out Ruchi. Ruchi gives you a right answer and she also gets another mark. And you know that Harshit is one of the weak students of your class. So you will ask him a easier question so that he can give you the correct answer and he is motivated along with the class. So ask him 3, 2, 4 less 1. Harshit gives you a correct answer and he also scores 1 mark. Again you ask 5, 4, 3, 2 less 1, Poonam. Now this time Poonam gives you the correct answer, she scores another mark. Then you ask 3, 2, 6, 5 Ravi. Ravi gives you the answer. Now this is, as you must have seen, we have not maintained a pattern while asking the question. So this in effect keeps all the students in the classroom alert and also gives a message that if someone is giving the answers without his name or her name being called, he scores negative. Now this will affect his entire total scoring marks. So this will also help you in maintaining a pin drop silence in the classroom. Now since I was referring to Harshit, who is supposed to be a weak student in your class, he also gets an opportunity to answer simpler questions without actually he feeling that he is being asked a simple question. So this also encourages him. Now if you look at the entire pattern that we have followed, is we have made sure that every student is alert, every student gets a chance to participate, discipline is maintained, even the weaker lot of students get an opportunity to answer questions and be participative in the class. And moreover, if you look at it, you have so many mental questions to be asked. What you are doing is every student is practicing mentally all the questions that you are asking. Nobody is complacent. So this ensures that every student at the end of the day is doing large number of mental questions practice, which is your basic motive. And now with this, your child, so many things that come out. His involvement is there. He enjoys the class because when we will be doing the total, you will see that the one who is in fact the children are very smart. They would be calculating, okay, yes, somebody is ahead of him, somebody will be calculating, okay, I have to give right answers so that I can cope up with the scores. So now let's look at it in this way, that we have asked questions and got answers. Another activity that we can do to keep all the students involved in the mental session is, after a particular student has answered the question that you asked, you can verify the same answer from the entire class by asking, okay, is he right? Or you can ask, is the answer correct? And you will get a reply. Now what happens actually is, all the students will thus be forced indirectly to do the mental questions. So that keeps the entire class involved. As many mental questions you ask, all the students will be doing. Let's fill it this way. Now as you can see in this entire scoreboard, we have done classwork 3 times and mental 5 to 6 times, and all the students have participated, all the classworks have been checked. Now we will ask the students to tell us who has scored how much marks. Again, this will be a kind of mental exercise. For example, when I talk about Manohar, I will ask all the students, okay, now tell me 26 plus 27 plus 1 plus 1 plus 25 plus 1 plus 1 plus 26 plus 1 is equal to, and I will ask somebody who will give me an answer. It will be 109, and we will continue this process of asking the questions, even this total to the students. So it will be like another mental exercise. Now consider it is been done. I will write the numbers total. Now I'll tell you one thing, this particular exercise of calculating the total numbers scored by any of the students, all the students enjoy, because this more like it is going to the end total is going to decide who is going to be first, second, third, or who is scored the highest mark. So the children like to do this total. Everybody will participate in this. Again, this will be one set of mental exercise, as I told you earlier. Now we will, once we have written all the scores, we will now ask the students once again, now who is first, and you get an answer that Pinky is first with 113 marks. Now who is second? It is Manohar who is second with 109 marks. Similarly, about all the students, you will get the scores. Now out of this entire exercise, you must have observed that this is one exercise where even for more than 1.5 to 2 hours, you have been able to capture the attention of all the students. You have been able to keep them interested in the entire activities. You have been able to make them do so many numbers of mental exercises, and you have developed a healthy competition here, and where every student wants to participate. Now I'll tell you, you must follow this system of using the scoreboard for maintaining and managing all your classes every Sunday for every batch. It is important that we keep the parents informed about the entire development of their child. In a month, a child comes to you almost on every Sunday, that means 4 times in a month. So what is important is that every week after the classes, you give a call to the parents of the child and just keep a record in your register. Inform the parents about the development of the child. Even if the child is weak, please inform them in a language that will not hurt. Like you can say, for example, that sir, your child is very intelligent, but it seems he is not practicing regularly. So will you please follow up and see that your child practices for half an hour daily? Or if a child is very good, developing fast, do please inform the parents, sir, your child is excellent and he is coping up very well. Just this was to inform you. And this kind of small communications in fact give a message to the parent that you are not interested only in collecting the fees, but you are actually interested in ensuring that the development of the child takes place. So this follow-up becomes very important. Do please take care of this. Thank you.